like to welcome you on behalf of the Commission. We Are Tacoma. Do many of you know what We Are Tacoma is? Okay. Tonight, Silk Road Dance Company is brought to you on behalf of We Are Tacoma. We Are Tacoma is made up of dance, lectures, music, concerts. We have things for adults, we have things for children, we have things for family. On your way out, if you please could pick up one of these. It has our fall programming into the winter. You can also sign up for our newsletter. It's on the stand just as you exit this way. You can also go on to the City of Tacoma Park Facebook page and events. We have all of our events listed, and please let us know if you're coming. If you have any questions, you can put them there. We are under the Housing Department. Sarah Daines is the head of that department. And everything that we have is either free or we kindly ask for a donation. So thank you so much for being here, and right now, I give you the Silk Road Dance Company.
Oh, okay. We're starting. My pants are on backwards, but hello.
We begin at the very beginning, with the very first king and the very first people. The first king was called Poimars, and he taught people how to make clothes from leopard skin. That's right. The Persians were the first to establish the
I wish I could tell you that all stayed peaceable under the rule of King Kilmars, but although he was greatly loved, there was a creature who hated him. This was the devil Ahriman, and he was the source of everything cruel and ugly and evil in this world. He plotted to destroy King Kilmars and his son, and even gathered an army of demons and wicked followers. Thus began the first struggle between good and evil, the forces of light and darkness, a struggle which continues to this day. Other kings came and went, but not all were kind and wise. One of them, Zahak, had been convinced by the devil Ahriman to murder his own father and seize the throne. Then Ahriman tricked him again, disguising himself as a cook who prepared exotic dishes for the greedy King Zahak. He had beautiful dancers entertain the king while he feasted. The food was so delicious and the entertainment was so delightful that the king promised to give the cook anything he asked for. "Oh, king, live forever," said the cook. "All I ask is permission to kiss your royal shoulders." Such a simple request. The king immediately gave permission. But remember, this cook was really Ahriman in disguise. As soon as the devil kissed Zahak's shoulders, 2 horrid, writhing black snakes sprang out of his shoulders, hissing around the king's head. The terrified king tried to cut them off, but the snakes grew back immediately. No one could get rid of them. The devil Ahriman returned, this time disguised as a doctor. He told the king, "You have a bad case of snakes." And the serpents could not be removed. "You must keep them calm or they will turn on you. The only way to save your life is to kill 2 young people every day and feed their brains to the snakes." Brains. That's right. Persians invented zombies. So plotted Ahriman in his evil heart to rid the world of people with his evil art. So every day, 2 young people were killed, and their brains were given to the evil serpent. And that is why we must guard our own minds against evil thoughts. What happened to King Zahak and his brain-eating snakes? Well, for 1,000 years, people suffered under him. But finally, a simple man, the blacksmith Kaveh, spoke up against his cruelty and defied the king, saying, "I have 18 sons, and all of them you have taken and killed. Not even a phone call. Thank you for your service. I have 1 son left, and I beg you, don't take him." And the king said, and I'm not making this up, no, not at all. All you have to do is sign this paper that says I'm the best ever, the greatest, highest ratings, and then I'll save your son. No problem. Just sign here. But Kaveh refused to sign and tore up the paper and stormed out, and the people gathered around him. Soon he was joined by Prince Feridun, and they fought against King Zahak and conquered him. So it's a wonderful story of bravery, but if you want to find out exactly what happened, you'll need to read the Shahnameh, the Persian Book of Kings. And now I will tell you the story of Zal and the magical Simurgh bird. Kings followed, great and small, and one came named Sam. More than anything in the world, he wanted a son, so he was overjoyed when his wife gave birth to a son. But when the king saw the boy, who was named Zal, he rejected him because the baby had pure white hair. The child was perfect in every other way, but King Sam said, "He looks like the son of a demon. Anyone who sees him will laugh at me, and I will be ashamed." Filled with anger and pride, the king ordered that the little baby be taken far away into the mountains of Elbrus and left there to die. Alone and hungry the baby lies. No one hears his feeble cries. A stone is his pillow, and thorns make his bed. The sun beats down on his snow-white head. Suddenly, a giant bird, the Simurgh, spotted the baby and swooped down to look upon him. At first, she wanted to feed the baby to her hungry chicks. But then something remarkable happened. The Simurgh looked at the little baby, and he was so adorable. She decided to raise him with her own chicks.
بچگان بر آن خورد خون از دو دیده چکان نگه کرد سیمرغ با بچگان بر آن خورد خون از دو دیده چکان شگفتی بر او برفکندند مهر بماندند خیره بر آن خوب چهر بماندند خیره بر آن خوب چهر
One day, when Zal was fully grown, the Simurgh saw a king and his army had come to the foot of her mountain. The Simurgh said, "Your father has come for you. It is time for you to leave the nest and return to the world of men." "But how can I leave you? You are my mother, this is my home, and I love you." "Zal, a great destiny awaits you. My heart is breaking, but you must go on. Take this magical feather from me for protection. If you're ever in danger, burn it, and I will come." At long last, Zal was reunited with his father, King Sam, and the king begged forgiveness for the mistake he made, the terrible mistake, when he rejected him as a baby. Zal was now a favorite prince. He went out on a hunting trip with his new retinue and entered the kingdom of Kabul that was ruled by King Mehrab. As it turned out, King Mehrab was the grandson of evil Zahak, the Serpent King. But Mehrab was a good man, and he greeted Prince Zal with gifts of horses, fabulous gems, rich fabrics, and a golden crown. The two men happily feasted together, and someone whispered to Zal that King Mehrab had a beautiful daughter, Rudabeh. Roses bloom on her ivory cheeks. Bells chime sweetly when she speaks. The moon itself shines from her face. She is all light and air and charm and grace. That night, Zal could not stop thinking of the lovely young princess. Meanwhile, back at the palace, stories of the handsome young prince had reached the ears of Princess Rudabeh, and she couldn't sleep either. Without ever meeting, the two had fallen in love. Rudabeh's handmaidens were worried. The families would never accept a marriage between the two because their ancestors had been deadly enemies. Rudabeh was descended from the evil Zahak, the Serpent King. And Zal had grown up in a nest. He was raised by a bird, and he had strange white hair. The handmaidens hatched a plot. The next day they went out to gather flowers on the side of the river, away from the camp of Prince Zal, and they looked out so they could check him out. When Zal saw them and found out who they were, he asked them to arrange for him to meet Princess Rudabeh. What happened to Prince Zal and Princess Rudabeh? And what about that magic feather from the Seymour? Well, we'll get to that, but there have been enough tales about royalty for now. The next story is about a girl, Hafvad's daughter, and her magical worm. Every day, Hafvad's daughter would leave the gates of her town and go with her friends to spin fibers into yarn. One day, she saw an apple on the ground and picked it up, thinking to eat it for lunch, but she noticed a tiny worm in the apple. Instead of killing the worm or throwing the apple away, Hafvad's daughter decided to keep the worm as a pet. She placed the worm in her bobbin case and fed it every day. And every day it grew larger and larger. And every day Hafvad's daughter and her friends were able to spin more and more fiber. You see, this was not a regular worm. This was a silkworm. And the silken fibers spun by Hafvad's daughter were made into exquisite fabric, bringing her prosperity and to her family and the people of her town. Do you remember Zal and Rudabeh? Well, they got married. And soon Rudabeh discovered she was expecting. So they were very happy. But as time went on, she began to look ill because she was very tiny and the baby was very big. So when at last the time for her delivery came, things were difficult. And Zal was so frightened that he would lose his beautiful wife and their child. Then he remembered the magical feather and he burned it. The Seymour came and all kinds of magical things happened. Yes, Persians invented C-sections apparently. But it turned out that this child grew up to be the great hero, the strongest in the land, Rustam. He and his father Zal worked together to protect the great king Kai Kavuz. And one day they discovered that the king had been captured by the white demon of Mazandaran. Zal sent his son Rustam to rescue the king and gave him a superlative horse named Raksht to ride to the rescue. The road to Mazandaran was dangerous, with demons, lions, and dragons all along the way. After fighting a lion, crossing the treacherous desert, Rustam and his trusty steed Raksht decided to sleep before continuing their journey to rescue the king. As Rustam slept, a dragon coiled out of the desert and stared with amazement at the sleeping hero and his horse. No one, not even the most powerful demon, had dared to come onto his lands. Raksht saw the dragon and drummed his hooves on the ground to wake his master. Rustam's eyes flew open, but the dragon magicked himself away, and Rustam could see nothing in the darkness, so he went back to sleep. Again the dragon came, and again Raksht warned his master by pawing the ground, and again Rustam awoke but saw nothing. "How dare you wake me for nothing? Don't you know how much I need to sleep? If you disturb me again, I'll cut off your head with my sword and walk all the way to Mazandaran on my own 2 feet. Poor Rox. For a third time, Rustam went to sleep, and for a third time, the dragon appeared. Rustam was so fast asleep that he did not hear the dragon roar. He did not see the flames. Rox was afraid to wake his master again and ran off. But then his loyalty won out. He ran back, neighing and kicking the ground to waken his master. Rustam woke up, drew his sword, and this time he said, "Who are you?" And the dragon replied, "No one ever escapes my talons. I have lived in this desolate place for centuries, and not even eagles dare to fly overhead. Tell me your name, for soon your mother will be weeping over your dead body." "My name is Rustam. I am the son of Zal, who is the son of King Sam. I am as strong as any army, and soon I will send your head rolling in the dust." Rustam and Rox had succeeded in killing an evil dragon, and they went on to rescue their king. This was a cause for great celebration. And what did people do in those days for great celebrations? Well, there was no Disneyland. So they went to the fire temple in Baku, sort of like fireworks, right? And they gave thanks for this victory that saved their king and defeated the powers of evil. Thank you for joining us for Shahnameh, Adventures from the Persian Book of Kings. And now we have a raffle. So all we have to do is get the raffle. Well, anybody want to last minute buy a raffle ticket? Do we have the okay, so going. We're going to get our bowl of raffle tickets for you and announce. And while we're waiting for that, if we are happy to answer any questions you have. Is that a real horse? Yes. Can we bring the cat on stage? Was that a real cat? Yes. All right. Yeah. We have to have our cat. The cat? Where do you? Yes, a question. Yes. You have a question?
Could you tell us a little bit about your group and how you got together and where the performances come?
Yeah, so I'm the artistic director and founder, Laurel Victoria Gray, and we have been together for, well, next year will be 23 years. And we have performed, well, in Singapore, Uzbekistan, Qatar, London, Toronto, and then throughout the U.S. and also at the White House, at the other White House, the Obama White House. Yes, and we need a neutral member of the audience, or oh no, there's a child here. There's children's here. There's children. Okay. Yeah, here's your last chance. Yes, can somebody manage this? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Rustam.